Here we go, our final map of the night. Icebox on the horizon, version 1 and KCP. We're 1-1. And unfortunately, somebody has to go home. And I always say, you know, you typically, when you get in, like, you're deep in the winners, you say somebody's O has got to go. Well, in this case, you want your O to go. You need to win because you're 0-1 in series. And if you go 0-2, you get sent home nice and early. Mimi, agent select. I don't think we're expecting anything too crazy here.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine it. Thief will get to bring out the Reyna on this map, and I love seeing Thief on the Reyna. I think that's going to be really exciting to take a peek at. Penny as well, onto the Jet. I feel like Icebox is a map for version 1 where everyone gets to kind of go to their home agent. Vanity gets his Omen, Effie's gets his Sova, Whippy gets the Viper. Like, everyone is so comfortable, and the map in general, definitely a comfort pick of this squad, but we orient on over to the other side. It's no real surprises. Physic into his Sova, the Jet for JMO, and Scuba does kind of make the switch up onto the stages. They do just run the solo controller here in way of the Viper. Scourge he's doing a little trolling, but I'd expect to see the Reyna out of him in a moment.
And I'm actually not too sure where we stand on the KO and the ruling. I know that tournaments around it, the agent is available, but I think because we're in Challengers 1, we're kind of just stuck in this first, hey, let's get through Challengers 1, allow it to be in Challengers 2. I think either way, we don't see it for quite some time, and if we do, it's going to be some interesting cheese, or it might even take over the 10s Yoru on Bind or something of the sort. But we've got our agents locked in, no more trolling, and I absolutely love the Reynas on this map, and we've seen what I love about Reyna on this map, I guess really everybody, is we get to see different playstyles. We might see some lurks. We might see some flanks, right? When you have the Jet, you don't necessarily have to be that person that's always tossing in the Leer and just going ham. You can kind of play back a little bit and look to find something on the outside or play that lurk watch. We'll have to see how Thief and Scourge are going to pilot those. But again, coming into map 3, somebody's getting sent home here. Somebody has to go Super Saiyan, so all eyes really need to be on that head-to-head, and JMO and Penny, they're both on the Jet. The operators are going to be ringing true here. And I saw somebody tweet about this. I don't know if it was you, Mimi, or maybe it was Sully, or somebody was upset about the Sageless Icebox comps. So we'll see if they continue to be upset.
I don't like Sageless Icebox comps, to be honest. I think it was Sully who tweeted it, but I'm with him on that one.
You're right,
I'm not
there.
a fan
You're
of
retweeting.
Sageless. I know
right now
that,
you're retweeting.
Yeah, I'm with him. I'm standing with him. But I mean, I guess we don't have too much more time to talk about it because we're already into the pistol. Someone's going home. It's either the second representative at Iceland, version 1, or younger underdog in the way of KCP. Pistol round here puts everything on the line, and the shock dart so good to really just set Thief down a peg. That'll force the rotation out of V1 as they try and set their sights maybe in towards B, but mid also an option. No one really there to defend from this Kansas City camp.
And the worst part about that is it's oh, you have no Sage? Welcome to Icebox. Shock dart coming through, no heal. It is on the best agent, I guess, to have the damage on, because should you find a kill, Thief will be able to heal himself up. But without the Sage, it's a very, very low, I guess, assist too. So Thief just needs to be careful at the very least. Try and find some tags, maybe some leg shots through his smokes. The recon bolt gonna grab a bit of information. Thief looking to assume the high ground, maybe finishing off a kill there. It's Effie's instead. Scuba goes down, the spike gonna fall on the ground as well. KCP find 3 quick kills. Now Effie's needs to get something done here. Shock dart towards the back. He does have some help, but the player advantage in favor of KCP for the time being. Wall goes up. Whippy on the flank. Spots out too, but he gets taken down before he can find the frags. Effie's forced to reload, and the round will swing the way of KCP to kick things off in map 3.
Very convincing round there out of KCP. I feel like version 1, normally they're very good at kind of applying the pressure in the mid round and kind of sowing that deceit, but they didn't there whatsoever. They were initially fighting in towards that B site, or excuse me, in towards that A site. They get pushed back by that shock dart, and then they just kind of chill out for a second. There was never any pressure. KCP never felt the reason to rotate, so they were very apt to re-aggress the second that final A hit came out. And, well, definitely a good look. KCP, they've been good on these pistols thus far. They'll continue the trend, and with a buy up into this one, I'd imagine we see V1 just saving here.
Yeah, it's not really the V1 way, right? To force up and round 2. They like to play it smart, like to have that full buy coming into round 3, especially when it's already hard enough with the changes to the economy, the changes to the utility, everything being so expensive. It's tough enough to get yourself a full buy in that round 3. As we get that scoreboard online for you guys, we see KCP 1 round the lead. The maps are tied 1-1, and this is going to be the decider. And you brought this up in between maps, but it was the kill feed, that leaderboard. It was JMO and I believe Scourge, maybe Odorous at the top with 20 frags, both of them. It just seemed like Version 1 should have been so much further behind at the end of that game just because they didn't really have the frags to back it up. So if we see that again, KCP, I mean, they should be riding heaps of momentum coming to this one. It's going to be Thief and Whippy, actually, also going to force up into the Sheriff and try and find something. At the very least, damage. Let's see an icebox for KCP. They've got a Marshall, and they've also got a Bulldog. So JMO looking to make that bonus a bit more powerful coming into round number 3.
Yeah, Sage Ball really funnels V1 into one direction here, and KCP respecting them quite a bit. Spike playing obviously the goal, and V1 somehow actually coming out on top. It's 2 frags to follow, and another there. Scourge only able to find a single frag. Now it's Odorous and Scourge alone. Odorous, well, he was initially considering the flank, but now with no anvil to make himself the hammer, he has to just group up with Scourge and try and work this in together. This could be heartbreak brewing for KCP if they can't convert here. Scourge, 1 pop shot, but isn't able to connect it. Odorous into the play, and they're just dancing around. They're dealing the damage. It's flies, but they're overwhelming their opponent. Penny with the BM up and over the top, shuts everything down. And I mean, KCP, that just can't be happening. They gave so much space for V1 to work with, and they completely overwhelmed them.
Yeah, that's tough. That you said it best. That can't be happening. That is so strange. And I understand. For some reason, it is a lot harder to shoot at somebody running away from you. But JMO taking those awkward pop shots with the Bulldog, only finding the body of the player, and then eventually falling, I believe, to Penny's Classic. That right there felt like the nail in the coffin. It was a Bulldog down. There's a handful of weapons around as well. And Version 1 able to steal it away. So we go thrifty for thrifty. That's our 3rd here in this series. We'll see if we get some more come closing time, as we're only 3 rounds deep, Whippy. We're making sure nobody brings up the rear on the flank. It's a shorty just around the corner, though. So Odorous kind of doing the same, hoping that somebody pushes that way. Headshots land true for Penny. Nice shots from the Spectre as Odorous looking to get some chip damage. Does find some. Penny's also forced to back away on the A side. So the damage is there. The kills just aren't following up, unfortunately. KCP not looking to match thrifty for thrifty here in this next round of Scourge. Maybe backs away, plays for some exits. Hanging on to the Marshall, though, might not be the right call. And we see Odorous offering himself up here to Whippy. Kill rings true, and Scourge, the last one standing, just trying to find something. There's one. Not going to be a flawless round in this one. Classic goes up top, finds the next, and if damage is the name of the game, Scourge is winning here. The backstab finally to come on through, but the damage has been done.
Yeah, that it has. V1 doubling down, and I want to highlight the positioning played in there from, because he's not overcommitting to the lineups, right? Like a lot of Viper players, they'll just hunker down, they'll chill out, and they'll kind of wait for their opportunity to use those mollies, but he's just comfortable sitting in this off angle, waiting for the flank to come, and is able to shut down. And we'll say that round gets out of control, then he's in the position to deny it. It's, again, kind of what we've been talking about a lot in this series, where V1 always has insurance, and they haven't needed to cash into it quite yet, because these 2 rounds have been pretty quick and easy. Finally, we see Rifle, but V1 increasing the pace. It's Penny to dash on forward and already claim control of B main.
It's almost a no harm, no foul situation after losing that eco round, because we're in round 4. Everybody's got the weapons. The bonus round gone by the wayside. He finds the first vulnerability, going to help find that frags physic. Picks up one onto Penny. Now looking for some more. Finds the second duelist on the side of Version 1. That spike looks to get planted, but heaps of damage onto Effies. And again, no Sage, no heal. So now it's 61 health and stuck there is Effies, as he's got the ultimate online. The post plant is available as that wall goes up. It should be taken down. It's Vanity to find the shots, but not going to find the right quadrant in the wall to take it down. And Scuba just sticking it. They try and send it out. They try and find the damage. They get the kill, but it's a little too late. As the rest of the kills funnel on through, KCP will tie us up.
All right, well, V1, they managed to kind of commit a bit of highway robbery there and find the Thrifty on round 2. And well, KCP, they do the same right on back, just sticking that defuse past the snake bites. I mean, I feel like I've been praising V1 for not putting too much faith into these snake bites thus far, but it feels like they do that round. Snake bite very late to the party, no one really able to contest, and the stick just able to come, puts a good bit of punish onto V1 now, because the round loss here is going to be reset. Could open the door up towards some KCP momentum. Scourge maybe attempting some aggression there. Tag does come out on the side of Effie's, but the Hunter's Fury not going to get too much done.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it opened up some space. It forced the Jet off the site, which leaves it down to 2, and the one still on is Scourge, who finds the frags. JMO able to bring it back up, make his way back onto the site, and find another, and Version1 completely stumped, and this might be their last buy round or the next 2. Effie's is going to grab that spike, still very healthy, so in a decent spot. Try and win a fight or win a duel. As the wall goes up, the spike slowly starts to creep on out. Tries to head over towards that B site, but it will be met by Odorous here very, very soon.
Yeah, Whippy's lurk here, it really makes or breaks this round on whether he finds Odorous. Odorous, I mean, he's playing this perfectly, right? Completely tucked in, trying to hold down a late lurk out of kitchen, but also being cautious of the possibility of someone walked up towards site. Whip still yet to make contact here, and the rotation is being made for Effie's, but he has to bide his time, re-clear main, because this space was never garnered, and with the time so low, Odorous could circumvent Whippy and shut this down. Whippy still can be unaware of his Viper counterpart.
And this stings because Whippy did cover a lot of ground. Just not enough, unfortunately. Odorous never found out. Zephy's goes down, so does the clock. Only 4 seconds left. The spike not going to be in hand of Scourge. Tries to find something. He did get spotted, but he backs away perfectly to stay alive, to hang on to his weapon. And it's only Whippy who remains here as KCP will grab a lead.
You gotta feel a little bit bad for Whippy there, because he did clear towards Snowman, but the timing just eluded him. His opponent, in way of Odorous, was completely tucked in at that moment, so he thinks it's safe. He thinks it's clear, gives that false sense of confidence on over to the planter, and that completely denies the round. V1, they're actually putting a bit of stock still into this round. Effie's will buy up onto a rifle. Onto his, so you know, with the 2 rifles, with that Spectre purchase for Vanity and the Blade Storm up for Penny, they could very much get around in here, but it's always going to be a little bit tough. The pressure very much on the back of Penny with this Blade Storm to create the space.
Yeah, and the investment isn't too bad here, because if you do lose this round, it's full loss bonus for Version1, so they should be sitting pretty going into the next. It does sting that it's a couple of members stuck on Sheriffs, although Penny does have not the angle. Spotted out the arm of Scourge, but wasn't able to find the shots with the knives, and unfortunately that means no more updrafts available. JMO looks to play on the Raptors, is able to fall back before taking damage. You can't say the same for Scourge, as Thief will steal away his life. Now 1 player down, or KCP, as they work on the retake, and that's a pretty close angle, Scuba, if you want to push that. So right click, the dagger should be able to close it out. No, Penny repositions, look for something extra, gets spotted out by the dart, and is able to escape. So a spooky spot for a second as 2 players quickly get answered back. Now it's all up to Effie's, who's playing off to the side. Is he able to get it done here? The spike is ticking down, running out of time. It's Odorous on the flank, slowly bringing it up. The shock dart goes through. The Legolas impression, the classic versus classic, as Odorous will find the 3K, but is out of time. Will nab a Sheriff and maybe make it away. No, everybody dies as Version1 tie us up.
So clutch of all things to come out on top there for Effie's and to pull V1 into tied odds. I mean, that very nearly slipped out of fall, and that was at least in part because of that Viper wall. You saw the man holding the flank was unaware of the possibility of Odorous walked up, because that Viper wall kind of gave us a false sense of confidence, and Odorous almost able to be the linchpin to shut that down. But thankfully for V1, they have Effie's, and I mean, Effie's, he's so good to pull out those clutches. Now they've realized this A site definitely going to be a bit of a strong suit for them. They're looking to take things quicker in towards this direction, but this round they have to contend with that operator on the back of JMO, and with the Jet in hand, he can do even more than he might have been able to pull off on stage.
And this is absolutely where things get scary and where we could start to see that space gained in terms of round growth and round differential. JMO and the operator name a better duo as he finds a shot onto Whippy. Your controller down. You have one to go in Vanity. We'll see how much those smokes can get done as that toxic screen will finally fall. It's the high ground for a moment, but they have to push onto the site. They know the op is here. The op shot goes wide. JMO takes just a scrape of damage before pushing away. The Empress popped here. Thief looking to go on the aggressive. Dark cover and attack through the wall. Physic able to secure the kill onto Penny. Now in a tough spot is the rest of Version 1 as they've got 5 to worry about, only 2 still alive. Coming around the dark cover, it's all up to Vanity, who threw down the smoke once before. Now needs to give all the smoke over to KCP and just can't do it. The operator again to open things up, to close things out, and to find KCP a 4th.
Yeah, I mean, JMO's op is just such an X factor that you cannot deny. And if we take a peek at V1's comp, the operator works so well against it because you don't have a Sage Wall. You don't have any, like, I almost want to say, like, flash agents. You have Reyna with those Leers, but
yeah,
one shot and those are, you have the paranoia, but that's hard to use against a Jett that has so much mobility. I mean, that's why I love when we see teams kind of pulling out the sky, even sometimes a breach on this map, because it can give so much denial against a strong opper, but there is no hard counter for them. They have to be using the smokes from Vanity, or they have to just be using superior positioning to shut him down. And that can be hard to do when JMO is such a mobile player. We kind of talked about this a little bit back on Ascent, that, I mean, KCP, it's a team that knows how strong JMO is, so they'll adapt their positioning. They'll completely play around him. They'll let him have that flexibility, and that makes it so strong.
Oh, Thief, speaking of strong, again with the Sheriff, able to find the frags. JMO trades one back, has the long-range duel here. Scuba's able to find another, so it opened up good for Version 1, but it might close out nice and pretty like here for KCP. As that wall goes up, it stops any opportunity for a flank. That spike in such a rough spot. As Effie finds another, we'll be able to retrieve the weapon. So a 3v3 is where we find ourselves as Thief. Still looks to find something. Scuba on the opposite side. Oh, nice poison cloud there. Heads up play by Whippy, and even more heads up to not have thrown out that utility early in the round. Hangs onto it and uses it when he needs it most. Now the spike goes down, and all 3 players not really in a spot for KCP to stop this one. Effie's on a huge lurk here. Viper's Pit goes down as well to try and secure the site. JMO where there might be a flank as Effie fires some shots. JMO only needs one to sit him down as Thief. The next to go down. The wall falls, as does Thief. Scuba able to secure that kill, and Whippy needs to get it done in a 1v4. The Viper's Pit and a Sheriff to work with, and I'm not sure if that fish is doing too hot inside the bag of that gun, buddy, as Scuba finds a nice little 3K on the round, a kill off the back end of a resurrection. So another alt piff. KCP will find their 5th.
I really like that play from Scuba there, and it's proving why the Sage can be so invaluable in the kind of quick adaptation. With Viper, you commit your wall, you're done with it. You're not able to move that again. But he was able to just kind of place that wall in towards spawn, completely one avenue of approach for V1, and force them to fully fight in from kitchen to recover the spike. They wasted so much time getting that done and spent so many bodies to recover it that it was never going to really come up in their favor. It was just a thrifty, so good on them for kind of forcing out that resurrection. But regardless, it's not a round to fully write home about. KCP pulling the scoreline to by 2, and JMO still has the off, and damn is he confident. Aggressive peek up here, waiting for an opportunity to fight. Shot does miss, but the tailwind's still in his back pocket.
Anna, I've been thinking more about what you said, right? Pushing the operator off these angles. It's so incredibly difficult to do for Version 1. Outside of the Leers, they also have that Owl drone, but your Owl drone has to be perfect from Effies. It just feels like so much pressure on your shoulders to clear out the operator, and I think we just continue to see JMO find value after value. Now, after pushing up aggressively towards A, is going to hold mid to make sure that nobody flanks on through. Hunter Shuri, this time not on the Jett, might be able to find something. Scuba dodges out as Thief finds the first frag once more, but what can they find off the back end? Last time it was a thrifty, this time it's rifles in hand. It's a player ahead for Version 1, and it's Vanity pushing up through 2.
Spacing found here by Vanity. And try and get something done from this position. but there is still a man towards the back lines. That's Odorous towards spawn. And if he can shut this plant down now, that could really turn this tide against V1. Remember, they have no Sage. They have nothing to create hard cover for this plant.
Hunter Shuri gonna get more value than FBs was able to find earlier. It's a kill, actually, to make things even. So in the 4v4, JMO looks to find some more. The danger angle. It's Thief going down. Thief in all the danger as Vanity sits down the knives. Now needs to get out of dodge from the shadows used here. A 3v3 situation. We've been back and forth as Whippy this time will toss out the utility nice and early and answers onto Odorous. Scuba able to trade us back once more. Vanity Shrouded step to get away. Whippy finds another kill. Now in a 1v1 situation. It's low HP for both members. It's no utility here for Whippy as the tap comes through. Scuba slowly lurking around, but lurking to his death, running out of time. Might find the frag, but at this point it doesn't matter. It's a 3K for the Sage, but he will fall to the spike, and Version1 will find the round.
That's just a kind of a masterclass in buying time there out one. You see that those mollies are expended incredibly early out of Whippy, and that gives time for Vanity to reposition without having to worry about the spike, because he finds that initial frag in towards Snowpile and is able to ult out, create himself a new position from which to take diversion. It works perfectly. No time left in that 1v1, and when Whippy dies, like you mentioned, just matter. The thing is, though, the V1, this is just a start. Previously, they had lost 2 rounds in a row, so KCP will still have a buy. They'll still have an operator for JMO, and that could be crucial to close this one out. But the A site actually being given over, at least in way of space here. No one playing directly on this site, just a Reyna in way of Scourge holding back, and Fisk as well, leaving this one over. In the retake, they do have that Empress, but not too much more to work with.
So the Lear queued up for a second. It's the Paranoia. Oh no, Penny eats the Paranoia, and Scourge is able to find a kill off the back end. So a bit of blue on blue there as the spike gets planted. Version1 wish they could find that one back. The Empress online, but Thief immediately going to dethrone Scourge. Will back away, will stay incredibly healthy as they find a tag onto Physic. A 4v4 as the retake looks to come on through. They push onto the site. They're unaware of Thief's position, but only for a moment. Oh my goodness. JMO sneaks away as they will find another frag. How is that possible? Finally, JMO will be answered. The ball doesn't lie as Physic stays alive, but only for a moment longer as FBs closes us out to tie us up at 5s.
Dude, Whippy had another late round lurk there, and well, it wasn't him to really find the nail. It was Effie's in those frags, but there was that second choice. There was that second option for V1, and just having him there, just having that pressure really limited the options for KCP, and now we find ourselves in a position where V1 have tied the odds, and they've reset KCP onto the lighter buy. This could be V1 running away with the half 7-5. If KC isn't careful. And I mean, last round, like, it's clear they're trying to adapt, right? Like, they changed up how they're playing that A side, but the passive style not working. This time the look is aggression in multiple facets, and Odorous, I mean, there's no way you're living there. Pinged out, Whippy gets one, follows up onto JMO. Good look in the anti-eco.
Version1 just trying to hang on here. They don't want to lose anything. A flawless round is the name of the game for this squad.
Planted.
And just due to kind of where we've been at in the back and forth, the tie games, the force up and the thrifties, the economy's been really shaky for both sides. So this one, obviously an awkward spot for KCP to be in. They buy up what they can to be able to buy in the next. And we'll see what happens. 6-6 going to be on the docket still, but I would imagine Version1 going to be looking to battle for 7-5. Scourge gets spotted out, has too many angles to worry about, and a flawless round for Version1. They secure themselves an even half. Now they get to go for more.
Yeah, just good owl drone there from Effie's, just to clear out that corner. That's a nice little double entry there for, I believe it was Whippy to get things. Now we find ourselves into the last round of the half, and for KCP, I actually like that they were fighting some aggression there, because they knew that it had to be a B play early on. It feels like they've been very deprived of information in this map, so maybe aggression is the name of the game, and it seems like they might agree with me a little bit, because there's 2 players pocket their way down mid, another operator in the hands of JMO, and a Blade Storm to work with for Penny.
That Bladestorm coming up huge there. That's the best you could hope for. At least one frag and the reset is there. So worst case scenario, you got a nice little shotgun in your back pocket in the wind blade shower. Now Thief, the lurking rain. I was wondering when we would see this, and maybe quite unexpected here as the legs get spotted out and Penny finds another. Goes for the COD reload though, so puts himself in a scary spot. Only 8 rounds down. 8 bullets, I should say, so we don't get confused with the rounds. Chooses to reload, and oh my god, Valorant is a horror game as Whippy comes flying up the ropes right in the face of the operator. Will find the frag. Now Physic, it's just too hard. It's a flawless round again for Version1 to grab the best they can get at the half.
I feel like Penny had a pretty slow start to this series, but he is really coming online here on Icebox. But if you look at the scoreboard, it's not just him. It's consistency across the board. Effie's in the clutch, Penny to get things going, creating the space on the jet. Everything was just working well in towards their favor. And I mean, what really started everything off was that 4-spy win. It wasn't even a 4th-spy, was it? It was just like pistols. And they managed to convert off that second round. It got the ball rolling early on. And V1, I mean, they're just proving their prowess here on Icebox.
Yeah, it looked shaky, though. It looked shaky. The back and forth, I would say that this game still probably feels a bit too close. I think Version1 has been a really strong team on this map. So for KCP to be 7-5, we've talked about this before. I've even gotten slack for this before, but 7-5 doesn't really feel like a lead, especially if you lose the pistol. I should say it doesn't feel like a lead if you lose the pistol, because then you're quite honestly looking at 7-7, and then everybody's in the game. At 7-7, you're going to have weapons online, and push through mid here for V1. That's the first kill. They're going to back away off the back end of that again. Thief taking heaps of damage, nothing to heal up. We'll need to hope for an assist later on in the round, but Version1 start things off here in the second pistol. Nice and pretty like.
That timing had me really worried because I think that was Odorous out towards main. He was looking away. They were back to back for a moment, but KCP, they take contact with the players pushed up. So it all resolves itself and does find an advantage for the side of V1, but the damage very much dealt here. Thief and Penny both on 1 HP, and now this A site being taken, but they're doing it dry. Walking up very slowly here. V1 still not aware of this play, but with that Sage wall ready to come up, they have to be now.
And that's such a nice Sage wall. Because of the play earlier, you know that nobody's really playing on the A site, so you don't have to use that standard wall for the plant. Instead, you can keep everybody off the site unless it's through heaven, and it was only Vanity who was close, and well, Vanity unfortunately now 6 feet under. Penny and Vanity have fallen. Thief still low on HP and a 3v3 retake. That wall gets chipped away at all 3. Coming from this position and a nice little crossfire. This is Effie. He's going to find the first. Effie leaps around for the next, and Thief to close it out. Only 3 remained on the retake, but that's all it took for Version1 to find the pistol.
Great pistol there out of Version1. They are able to kind of recover from the damage dealt off of their aggression. And that aggression, it really slowed KCP down. It forced them to reconsider for a moment. And it did end in that walk up in towards A, but they just never had the numbers after their lurk through mid in way of Odorous was taken care of. And something that I thought was interesting in that round is that Odorous died with the wall still in his back pocket. He never used it. He never committed it. I think he was trying to save it for something towards the late round, but got off guard, so didn't get that opportunity. And with him as the sole controller, when that wall's not up, it really just has to make you rely on those gunfights. And we know KCP can be good at those, but in that round at least, V1 was just winning out the brawls. And, well, you said that 7-5 doesn't feel like a lead. When you win the pistol, it sure does. 8-5 the scoreline, 3 in their favor, and significantly superior buy-up. Ooh, a bit of damage is dealt with the frenzies. Bulldog will fall. This gets dangerous.
Yeah, those frenzies are still pretty scary, as we can see there on the skyline. Able to find that frag, and Penny, worse for wear, as Odorous finds one with the forced up Bulldog. Effie's only able to trade one back. That's the weapon ripped away, but picked up by Scuba. As the spike gets planted, another kill will swing the way of the V1 Sova. 3v2 situation. Not a heap of utility to use here, and you've got Scourge so far off the site. Recon Bolt can be shot down. Paranoia goes through. Sheriff shots land for Physic as they look to swing the corner. Effie finds another. Needs an ace on the round. He's pinched in between with 10 HP. Nowhere to go. Scuba to close it out. The fallen Bulldog in his hands is enough for another thrifty round here, this time for KCP.
Well, we go blow for blow with the second round buy-ups, finding success. And again, it was just the pistols. It was just a light investment in way of currencies, the job done. And unfortunately, they're that first player to fall, a little bit aggressive in towards Maze. I mean, I feel like maybe V1 getting a bit overzealous here. You can never underestimate this KCP squad. You mentioned they are going blow for blow with the best here on Icebox. And we have a brief technical timeout. Not entirely sure of the nature, but we will try and get you folks back into the game as soon as possible.
This is I don't know. This is okay. So it sounds like we've got some TeamSpeak issues, and this has been what a game. What a map 3. What a series, right? 13-7, 13-10. Now we're here. It's 8-6. Version1 up 7-5 at the half. They win the pistol. They lose the anti-eco, just like we saw them do to KCP in the first half. So maybe we go 7-5 for 7-5 and we get deep into overtime, which is a place that Version1 is very familiar with after their first game today. 19-17 losing to 100 Thieves. I'd imagine at this point, you're just hoping they can find a way to close this Icebox map out. They've had too much of this, 36 rounds, and then some. Feels like a whole lot for this squad. It's going to be a couple of sheriffs on the side of V1 as we get back into things. Hopefully the comms are nice and clear, because it's exactly what these teams will need in this one to make sure it's not another thrifty. This one in favor of V1.
Just lighter weapons here, and the sheriffs in play for the side of V1. Penny tucked in towards yellow box, and the Viper wall actually quite passive, gives a lot of space on over to KCP, so this rides with Penny. If he can get a shot in here and can dash away, that sets the team up for success. It's always the pistols. It's always a low opportunity to get it.
There's one pistol ripped away, or one upgrade, I should say, ripped away as Penny falls. Sheriff down, so a nice little upgrade. The side of KCP is JMO making sure nothing sneaky's happening on the flank. Whippy still hanging out on the side. Odorous taken down. A headshot from Thief will allow Effies to secure the kill. That Sheriff coming in nice and clutch as Whippy in a tough spot just around the corner. The spray through the Radianite box isn't going to find the kill just yet. And for Version1, in a situation like this, just want to do damage. Effies has the Hunter's Fury online after finding those eco frags. Shock Dart goes through, but it's not enough to find anything. Not enough to help the team as Vanity just continues to chip away. Hops on the spike for just a second. The classic. Oh my God. Vanity is finding a way to get things done. Not like this. Tries to hop on the spike. 2 players pushing that way. It's all just an elaborate ruse to try and get them to push into the smoke. We can find the frags, but it's 12 health. It's a dream. It's a chase down. It's a spike ticking down. An explosion on the horizon as Vanity finds another. He will gladly give up his life for 4 kills on the side of KCP. They grabbed the round, but at what cost, Mimi?
That's a huge round to, well, not quite take, but to deal the damage for V1, because KCP, this was kind of their first opportunity to fully buy into things, and now they're forced to make a pretty sizable reinvestment. V1 just really good at making themselves ratty, at tucking in and getting something done with just the pistols. Now they do have the rifles to work with in this round, and they're really showing a pretty standard defense. 2 wins. You have your Sova and Mid for that early information, and you have that Viper wall in towards B long. Lots of players have started kind of iterating on that Viper wall, changing things up. Sometimes we see our Vipers playing in towards A, but I mean, it's the tried and true for a reason. Buys you so much space in towards B, and well, it kind of denies mid play a little bit as well. KCP, they're not looking for mid here, looking for a nice slow default, trying to work some space in towards both A and B main.
Ores and orb emitting.
And I think this back and forth kind of thrifty, disrespectful pace that was played is now earned a whole lot of respect here in round 16. Not given up too much on both sides here, as that Empress is going to be popped. Scourge finds the first on to Penny, and you hear it calling out there. The Reyna wants more. Can the Reyna find more? As Vanity stuck on the A side all by his lonesome. Will fall to Scuba, and the rotation coming through is Odorous. Oh my goodness. Thief gonna find a couple of kills. Not necessarily on the duelist just yet, as the Empress still alive. It's a 3v2 situation. Thief still up as well. Nice and overhealed. 1 of 47. Scuba ducks away from the shots. Physic looking to play some of this utility. FB's looking to take the fight right to him, though. Scourge trying to find his way onto the site. Lear goes through. Deep able to tap the spike. Now they're running out of time. Now they have to find something here as Physic finds the last kill. It's a dismiss away, and once more a tie game.
I feel like we really haven't seen this guy fully come online, but I mean, this map here on Icebox, it's just Scourge time, because he is popping off, finding so much impact on the arena. And that's what you love to see. He can be a player that can just get so confident that can space, and when Scourge is being that forward man to find those entries, to find this space, it gives a lot more flexibility to James. We haven't him playing in on the operator too much just yet on this attacker side, but when he can play back a little, he can be a little bit more passive. It can work really well to find that follow-up, but in this round, it's not going to be great for V1. It's an opportunity for KCP to pull ahead.
I would say the one thing that we can't discount is we've seen the most thrifties here on Icebox, but it's, again, a slower pace for KCP in their due diligence to clear everything out, using that drone to get a whole lot cleared out as Physic. And at that orb now, one away from the Hunter's Fury. Viper's Pit and Resurrection available, so should they secure the site, Odorous to do a pretty good job of holding it down. And speaking of Odorous, way back in the spawn, making sure that nobody gets crazy, pushing out towards A main, looking for a flank, and Scourge be right there to answer as well. Sheriff shot just over the top. Scourge, elusive like a wombat. Now running right into the welcome arms, though, is Odorous, and Vanity goes wide on the shots. Can't reset in time, and KCP look to find themselves a lead as that spike slowly creeps up towards B. Version1, their attention drawn towards A.
30 seconds left.
Now they swing back. Wall goes up. Recon bolt goes out. Hunter Shuri will be online off the back end of a plant. In Version1, got a whole lot of splaining here to do with two sheriffs and a classic to get it done.
It's going to be very hard to pull something off on this retake. The wall is set up to retake, but again, damage is the name of the game. They shut down the lurk, but Scourge, but JMO has to trade back. Penny's classic won't find impact, and Swippy finds one, he'll fall as well. I loved what we saw there from KCP, because V1, they were very much playing that information game. They had Vanity up aggressive in towards A main, and they had Effie's up aggressive towards mid. They knew KCP had to likely be committing in towards B. What KCP does is they pull back for a second. They reclaim that space. They refight that control, and that throws V1 for a loop. They kind of doubt themselves, re-rotate in towards A, leave that B site fairly open, and with just the pistols on the retake, you can generally see who's going to come out on top. And KCP now pretty good here, but they have to contend with Penny's operator. And we haven't seen too much opping out of Penny yet this series, but we know how good this guy is when he's got it in his hands.
Yeah, and that's something that I feel like Penny really goes back and forth between rifling and opping a whole lot. And when you do see him with the operator, it's typically doing work for the squad. So I am surprised that we get it this late into this one. And I say surprised this late. Well, obviously the economy's been weird, so it's been hard to pull one out. And unfortunately, this time around, it's not going to get the value that they were hoping for as that wall goes down. The Viper's Pit going to go down on top of it as Odorous looks to lock down the site all by himself. At the very least, push everybody away for now. Now looking to push on the backside, finds Whippy shooting through the pit. Is able to find the headshot. Now Penny gonna have a difficult time finding anything unless Odorous wants to greet him on the opposite side as well. The Vandal shots ring true. Paranoia goes out. The near side is there, but Vanity not able to find a way in. Looking to trade the kill. It's the operator down as Vanity will slowly bring down the pit. Odorous has fallen. But is that enough? A 3v4 as the shock darts traded out. Scuba goes on the flank, has the shot, stops the defuse, and leaves it all up to FDs once more. This clutch, though, a whole lot less doable. Running out of time with 36 HP as the recon bolt not going to find the tags. Physic so far off the site as well with Hunter's Fury in hand. The kill was swinging the way of JMO and Mimi. KCP are 3 rounds away from upsetting one of our Iceland representatives in Version1.
This is insane from KCP right now, just proving how deep this talent pool runs in North America, that even the underdogs that you never expect to be able to get this far can pull something off against some of the best in the region. KCP, not a squad to be doubted. They're not out of the woods just yet. 3 rounds you mentioned, but in this one, it could be kind of a gimme because V1 just down onto the eco. Have the investment in Way of the Judge for Vanity and a Spectre up for Whippy, but I mean, V1, they haven't really been finding too much success in these rounds, and even when they have, Penny had the op last round, I feel like it didn't really get anything done. V1 definitely struggling right here, right now, and P still very calm, very trying this default, looking for aggression, and look down.
And buying the op when the Viper's Pit was online, I mean, that only spelled defeat there for Penny, just because you didn't have the right angle at the start of the round. And that's obviously, you know, kind of a 50-50, maybe a 25% chance because there are different angles to peek. But once you don't find anything off the rip from the operator, the Viper's Pit makes it that much harder. And Penny had gone down before the Viper's Pit had even gone down itself. Now JMO is getting tripped up on his name, maybe because we're expecting to see something here as the Knives gonna go wide there. Effie is able to find one with the Hunter's Fury this time around, finds a tag off the back end, but Scourge does so much damage. Pushing back towards the spawn, finds 2 frags, looks for some more. Odorous slowly bringing up the rear to try and help out, and unfortunately pays for it with his life. Now Vanity, a couple of Sheriff shots, pushes a player away, but Scourge still in a good spot here. Vandal in hand, pushes out, weapon in hand now for Vanity, but it's just the Judge. The close angles, are going to pay off. The post plant, it's just too strong. You have 3 players to worry about, a Hunter's Fury as well. The Viper's Pit going to be used here. Whippy, an absolute madman, going to hop on the spike, be taken down immediately as JMO backs away. The close angle's not going to come out on top for Vanity. The Judge will fall, as will Version1. 11-8 for KCP.
Scourge does so much in that round. I mean, the way he plays Reyna on this map reminds me a little bit of TenZ. Like, it's just pure confidence, right? He has the skill to back it up and can just push all the way in towards spawn, hop up on a railing, get over aggressive, find those entry frags, and I love that KCP give him the opportunity to do that. Odorous's calls aren't, let's lock it down, let's focus in on our specific things. Even when they're winning, even when they're under pressure, they stay loose. They just let that flow happen, and that's really hard to contend with when you just have a player who's maybe not what the percentages would tell you to do, and instead just doing something that's, well, confident play. Now in this one, V1, they're trying the operator on Penny again, and, well, for the second time, no frag off the rip for him. They are droning through mid, so an opportunity for Vanity to maybe find a frag here, at least some information.
It spotted, I want to say, one player pushing into A main and then was shot from the B side of things, which kind of tells you, you know, that somebody's leaning that way. Could be a lurk, could be the rest of the squad. Obviously, it's difficult to push back through mid. So a bit of information gathered there. Still have a player. Effie's going to be holding things down out towards mid. Nice paranoia. Going to get the blind on one. That's the spike down. Scuba will fall as JMO looks to creep up into the tube. Scourge is able to find another kill. It's Vanity to be traded right back, but Effie's is there to answer back once more. JMO has assumed position inside of kitchen, and this could be catastrophic. No, it's all up to JMO. Able to find the first. Looking for some more, but it's Effie's to close it out. Version1, they battle back. 9-11 the scoreline, but they have to keep pushing forward.
That they do, and they do take some damage in that one, will force some reinvestments, but overall, a strong look for V1. This is one of the first rounds in a while where it's felt like they've had good information going into the final execution out of KCP. They had that drawn up. They knew that there was presence still in towards spawn, and they keep a little prone there, so they're aware that kind of that B play through mid, that split could be coming into fruition, and are able to shut it down nice and early. You mentioned JMO, and I think he really could have gotten something done there, but unfortunately for him, his teammates died before he could find his opportune moment to strike. Now V1, they're still trailing by 2 rounds, but they win here, and that KCP economy is going to start looking a bit rough.
Clear out for Scourge to cover some ground. Penny able to dash away there. Only taking the damage from the Viper wall. Empress pops, and we know what Scourge can get done with this. Usually good for 2 as that spike goes down. The wall crumbles just a bit, but still enough to corral the rest of this squad out to the right side of this site. as the shots come through. They chip away at the wall, but everybody playing off the site here. All fives. That Lear goes up. Scourge gonna go wide on the shots. Penny trying to find the angle. Penny will get the frag. Goes for the reload. Cloud burst to steal some of that positioning back, and unfortunately, right by the... No, J-Mo gets caught out trying to dash away, but the time is ticking. The shock darts are there. The Hunter's Fury. They're finding a way to hang on. They're finding a way to find the frags. Now, FB's to try and stick the spike, has to hold it. It's another kill. It's Odorous on the flank, and Vanity just doesn't have it in him. No time, no health. Physic to close things out. KCP to map and series point.
V1, they're on the precipice of falling here, of getting knocked out. Instead able to pick up a series. This is unprecedented. The KCP is getting this done. And in that launch, their post plan is just so strong. They have layers to it. It starts out with the shock darts. Then there's mollies from the Viper. Then you have Odorous off of his flank trying to get something done. And that final bit of insurance to close everything out is physic up felt. I mean, V1, they had no way to deal with it. The time was already too far gone. The setup was already too strong. And I mean, look what they have left. Up against match point, it's two Spectres. And I mean, light armor on Effie's, light armor on Whippy, not a good look. KCP, they just have to hold strong, and they'll be able to close this one out.
Poison's off.
Get out of my way!
Blade Storm popped for J-Mo. Going to come online here right next to Scourge. It's the only ultimate available for the squad here. Coming into what could be the last round here on Icebox. Vanity has the From the Shadows, but the tough ultimate to get the value. Because once that sight hit is coming, you don't really need the information. Now Scourge to take the sight. Recon Bolt. Traded out, or Lear used as well. Penny gonna get spotted, taken down. There's it From the Shadows, but it immediately gets answered and sent back. Now they're slowly bringing up the rear, but Odorous is ready for it. Odorous can't find the shots. Odorous will fall as Whippy on 1 HP somehow manages to stay alive, but needs to do it for X amount longer. As the spike ticks down, they look to work together. It's 76 health for Version1 to try and hang on. Vanity full send up the back end of a Paranoia. Whippy looking for something, able to find a kill with 1 HP. Now it's all down to Vanity with 2 players to worry about what utility is available. A tag comes through on the spike. J-Mo to close it out, and KCP will take the series in 2-1 fashion. Version1 will have to try again in the close 2 main event as the Pioneers move on. We'll break down this series and much more after this break. think everybody needs to catch their breath after that one. Version1 gets sent home early here in the main event for Challengers 1. And I mean, you have to get a round of applause to KCP, the Kansas City Pioneers. They showed up today, and well, you get the results when you do that. Mimi, Icebox, well, we kind of talked about it during the break. Version1 just didn't look the same, or KCP went Super Saiyan. That was an incredible map.
I mean, if we look back at the replays here, it felt like a combination of both. Like, V1 definitely looking out of their form, but we can't discredit KCP because that was just because KCP was so strong. In the late round, like, it was just the confidence completely brewing for this team, right? Like, you had Sports running it down, you had JMO chiming into the picture, and even when times got rough, they had this incredible host plant to work with. It just felt like they had V1 totally read. None of their usual tricks were working out, and for V1, we can't really sugarcoat this, right? Like the point, they fall out on the first day of a Challengers main event. They went to Ice. It's not even like they got knocked out early at Iceland. They beat Liquid. They took 5th place there, and now they've just been bested by KCP, who I would say was the biggest unknown quantity going into this one. And well, maybe they're still a little unknown, but what we do know about them is that they are a squad that should not be slept on because they're staying alive. They're moving on in this lower bracket.
And what this says to me as well for KCP is, you know, staring at the number 5 team in the world, the number 2 team in North America, they don't flounder. They don't give up. They don't step down. They don't step back. They hit the shots that they need to hit. They frag out when they need to frag out. You take a peek again. It's frag wins on top here for KCP. And Scourge, JMO, absolute madman. I remember, I think back to the First Strike days where JMO was getting a lot of heat on the Jet as a Jet player, and since then has improved so much to be leading this team, not only as the Jet, but on the Sage on Ascent, the Operator, the plays being made with the wall as well, playing on the Sage. JMO just so innovative. And again, it just speaks so well to this KCP squad because we know Version1 to be the cerebral team. And now we kind of see what that cerebral team falls to, right? It's just the sheer overpowering. Not that KCP didn't have good mid-round reads or anything like that, but their shots were just on today.
Yeah, I mean, the individuals for this squad, they have so much raw talent, especially, I think, in way of the players you mentioned. Scourge was having an insane game on Icebox. Then you have kind of Odorous. They never had, like, an IGL that I felt was as strong as Odorous, but now he comes into this squad, and he feels like the backbone to me. His calls have been great. His Viper play has been just really fantastic. Scuba as well, pulling things into the picture, like, I don't know. It's just such a team that is so strong. And let's talk about their history a little bit, because I mean, they started off, what was it? Initially, it was Serenity. Then they got dropped by Serenity. They were playing as ex-Serenity. Then they move on over, get signed by E-United. Honestly, that E-United squad was never looking that great, right? Like, they were losing out in some tournaments. They get dropped by E-United, make some runs as FPLC, take a map off of BBG, win some Nerd Street events, and out of nowhere, they get signed by the Pioneers. And now they're here, taking down the 5th best team in the world. That's insane. The kind of the trajectory of this squad has just been upwards since when they started, and it's so impressive to me.
Yeah, and so now I know that we've got a few segments here to kind of close out the day and wrap things up, but I think before we get to this next one, I'm throwing out another one because that alone, that whole storyline feels like the storyline of good instant karma, right? Where you go through all these trials and tribulations, you have all this stuff that is just kind of thrown at you. You finally get picked up by an organization, and it seems like they have found home. And so now our next segment, as we jump on into it, it is going to be our Credit Karma Instant Karma replay. And I mean, again, I feel like that whole storyline was that, but we get to take a peek at a clip here, and it was Vanity, who was in a tough spot, but was bailed out thanks to Thief. You see this blaze wall come up, and it allowed for some safe passage. And not only that, Mimi, but a couple of kills afterwards for Vanity.
Yeah, it kind of ended out this round with a nice little frag to get things going. And I mean, V1, this is what we were talking about. Their teamwork was really strong on those first couple of maps. It was looking fantastic, and then they just floundered a little bit on Icebox, but this is when things were looking good. And well, that's just the feeling of instant karma. The teamwork working out perfectly, and Thief, you know, he was looking pretty good as a new addition in towards this squad.
Yeah, it's we kind of talked about slotting in. I think the biggest thing that kind of came down to version 1 maybe floundering a little bit is just kind of, you have different puzzle pieces from, different puzzles. You're trying to get on into, I don't know, just maybe biting off a bit more than you can chew in a situation like this, and you're probably expecting KCP to come out, or not to come out on top here, but again, just the huge underdog, and I'm completely blown away. I'm absolutely floored, as I believe we can take a look at our maps to see how that upset had happened. Unfortunately, I didn't actually heard what Griff was saying to us. What we've got on standby here, Mimi.
Yeah, well, before we take a look at those maps or anything, we got another little fun clip to show you guys. That's the AimLab flick of the day, of course, brought to you by our friends over at AimLab. There were so many amazing moments from this series, but there was 2 best of 3s before it. It's been a long day, and the one we're taking a peek at is earlier, the XSET game, and it was the new man on the spot. It was Zekin with a nice little 3K just lining him up. I mean, Zekin, he was looking so good in on this XSET roster. It feels like coming on over, he feels free. Like, he's playing his duelist, he's just fragging out, getting to be that kind of zoomer with the cracked aim that he wants to be.
Yeah, and I've been seeing a lot of people, right? And I know that you're a Zekin stanner for sure, but a lot of people have been starting to buy into those Zekin stocks because they're seeing numbers that he's been able to put up. And again, this is a game where we get a lot of young cats coming in and starting to play. We get a lot of the younger generation really starting to shine. And you take a peek at some of the teams that they're playing, and it's generally the older generation as well. So it's really nice to see. It's like a breath of fresh air. That always trips me up, but a breath of fresh air to see these players come in, to remain just as confident, to be just as strong in their gameplay, and then obviously pull stuff out like that where XSET end up moving forward. And I mean, I just think only great things are going to be coming from that squad as a whole. And with that, unfortunately, Mimi, we slowly get closer towards the end of the day, but this is just day 1, right? We still have some more matchups ahead of us. We've still got, the upper bracket, the lower bracket, and we can actually take a peek and see what matches we've got on the docket for you guys coming up in the next few days. Today's only Thursday. We're moving all the way to Sunday. And just a reminder, the bottom 4 teams from this, just like we saw version 1 go, we had to let them, we all wave goodbye for now, but they're going to qualify for Challengers 2 main event. They don't have to go back to the Open, so they're going to be sitting pretty waiting for that one. Whereas on the opposite side of things, the top 4 teams are going to be making their way into that Challengers final. So obviously there's a whole lot to still go. There's a lot of ground to cover for KCP now that they're in the lower bracket, but you're one step closer, Mimi.
Yeah, that they are. And if we take a little peek at the schedule coming up tomorrow, we've got XSET versus the Sentinels. That's going to be an interesting one. Sen, of course, the reigning champions of Masters over at Iceland, up against those kind of new dogs on the block with that fresh XSET roster. Then we get a second game down in the lower bracket. That's KCP, the guys we just got finished watching, versus, I believe, I'm not sure if it's the loser of the Sen XSET game or a different game, but whoever's going to be joining them down in the lower bracket, be that Sen or XSET, will be facing up for tournament life. And I mean, this is where we start to get into the exciting matches, because of course there's 50k on the line. There's a lot of stock put into this. Really matters, I think, for most of these teams is making Challengers finals, because it's just that clean split, that clean division, top 4 into the bottom 4 into the event. So lots to be done, and well, tomorrow is when we get to start seeing that division. But of course, that's not everything left on this stream, because we've got NA coming up tomorrow, but before that, we've also got Korea on deck. They have their Challengers main event going on right now, and since we're ending out so late, that's getting started in just about an hour here on the Valorant Twitch.
Yep, that one going to be starting here very shortly, guys. But as you know, after that, starting up tomorrow, more action at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, at 5 p.m. Eastern is where you can catch us right back here to get it all started once more. A couple of matchups on the docket. We can't wait to get it done. With that, we have to bid farewell. And on behalf of myself, Mimi, the entire production crew, everybody working hard, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.